Hello, everyone. Today's first reading is taken from one of the most famous and beautiful readings in the entire New Testament, Paul's hymn to love in 1 Corinthians 13. Now, if you've ever been to a wedding, you've probably heard this reading, and for good reasons. It's extremely beautiful and profound. I'd like to now read this reading and then reflect a little bit about why it has significance for all of us, not just those about to get married. So it begins at the end of Paul's 12th chapter in First Letter to the Corinthians. Strive for the greater gifts, and I will show you a more excellent way. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. But as for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. The greatest of these is love. Now this reading is very significant for all of us because we believe as Christians that God is love, and if we want to live well, we should live like God, meaning we should be more loving. I'd like to point out a couple things about this reading. The first is that beautiful paragraph where it lists the properties of love, what love is. Love is patient, love is kind, love is envious, love or boastful or arrogant or rude. Now in English, these are all adjectives: patient, kind, envious, boastful, arrogant, or rude. But in the original Greek, actually, these words are participles, meaning they are made from a verbal form. And this teaches us above all that love is not just some sort of emotion, but love is a verb. Love is an action. Love requires doing something. So love is not primarily some sort of way we feel about someone or something, but love primarily is about doing something, doing the good for the other person. So I think that's an important lesson. Love is a verb. Secondly, I think there's a very important reflection we can do on this reading, and I heard this once from a priest years ago, and I found it very helpful. A good meditation we can do is where we find that paragraph: love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant and rude, it does not insist on its own way, etc. Wherever we find love, we can replace our own name, and it becomes a very good examination of our life to see how loving we are and therefore how much we're loving like God. So I could say, Nick is patient, Nick is kind, Nick is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. And when I say that, I recognize, okay, I have some room to grow, but I also see a goal to which I can aspire to. So we're grateful for this very beautiful reading we have today that teaches us that as Christians, ultimately we want to be loving, and this gospel teaches us what it means to love, to ultimately follow the example of Jesus Christ, that love is not primarily a feeling, but it is a verb, doing the good for the other person. God bless you and take care.